Yo, good evening everyone. I am back, slightly late. And yes, a year ago, 2 years ago, I bought the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. I'm going to have difficulty not saying Ultra Lux. The Ultra Lux. The entire time I'm playing this. And I thought, I'll stream this newly released game. Here, it's currently on stream, isn't it? Yeah, stop wearing me. I'm one step ahead of you. And I thought, yeah, I'll stream this new game. And then I didn't. And I have spent the past year avoiding spoilers for this whole time. Sorry, my headset's sitting a bit funny. I think it got ran over by a chair at some point. Oops. So I'm finally getting to it. Spoilerless. 1 year late. Yeah, the end is still loading. So this is a story about a man named Stanley.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building
I have
where
no
he
idea
was
what to expect.
employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in
Hello.
what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month.
Press
of
escape,
every year.
press something, press
And although
I, press
others
J.
might
Damn it,
have
I missed
considered
that.
it soul-rending, Stanley relished
That was
every
totally a
moment
secret,
that the
wasn't it?
orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
And Stanley was happy.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time.
Hello,
But as he
Stanley?
came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Hold on. Hold on there, narrator. Narrator-chan. I need to observe his mug first. What? Oh, why does right-clicking make me move forward? Recommendations for the Oversight Committee. General questions about something. A short history of the relations between Poland and Austria-Hungary. This looks a
All of
lot...
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
We're going to be environmentally conscious and boop all the monitors. How to use help. Window.exe. I'm scared to talk. I know the narrator's going to talk as soon as I say something.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Pick up that can. Now put it in the trash can.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Tomorrow, complete today's unfinished agenda items. Write next day's agenda. Refleet. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Using slides to assure everyone is unique. Synergize core value. This is... So, my history with the Stanley Parable starts like a decade ago when good PGG update canned. Starts like a decade ago when Anno showed me a curious mod for Half-Life 2 called the Stanley Parable. As is the case with quite a lot of things, at first this page contains no information. TPS reports. Yeah, we played the source mod together. It was really fun. And then eventually there came a for sale version, which
Coming
was...
to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. Say that's a lovely purse. It doesn't rhyme in my accent at all. The beige pages. Yes, I do remember playing the original version of Surgeon Sim and just really getting in there with my hand and shaking everything out and then shoving the heart in. Ah, memories.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this.
Smashed a
What dark
beacon.
secret
Their
was
hearts
being
of
held
broken
from
glass
him?
removed the organs.
What he
Forgot
could
that
not
step.
have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth
I have
that
a
his
cup of
boss
coffee,
had
as
been
is
keeping
tradition.
from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Very human procedure. 0451?
2845.
No, that doesn't look right. Did I do 1117?
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Oh my god, a secret passage is opened. I skipped 1116. I'm so sorry. God, it's going to turn out that the code was actually 1116 all along now. It was 1119. Yeah. Sip coffee. Next time around, I'm going to start at 1116 and then try 1119 the
Descending
next time.
deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
Stanley
It was
realized he felt a
stirring
bit.
of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Whoa. Sparks.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Well.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
It's just a
Stanley
sheet of
thought to
3-digit
himself.
numbers.
Did he have the strength to find out?
Oh, I'm so strong.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I can't imagine. Poor Stanley reduced to images on a screen.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
It's called capitalism, Stanley.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
It's very slightly indecipherable. Not enough pixels. Smash that button. Oh, the buttons in this game are so satisfying to press. It's a subtle detail, but it's really important that they've gotten it right.
Blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened,
more things should
Stanley
be big button powered. I completely agree.
Puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his.
Did they make the outside world nicer?
That was all he needed to know.
I think they did.
It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Does Stanley step through the open door? For the record, I don't have a jump button. Stanley walks. I can't really seem to escape this. There was no mind control for jump. Oh, there we go.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
I got the achievements. Beat the game and get your first achievement. Oh, we're back here. Charm ink clock.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, that's a blast from the past. Ah! Yeah, that's the most vanilla run through the Stanley Parable possible. And
When
it's...
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
It's just recommendations from the Oversight Committee and a short history of Austria-Hungary over and over again. General questions about bucket filling. Yeah. I can be a bit thick about themes sometimes, so I'm gonna lay it out real clear that the story is about the character Stanley, who is being controlled at the micro level by the player, who uses WSAD and uses a screen to control Stanley's behavior, and at a macro level by the narrator, and at a slightly more macro level by society because capitalism. That's definitely the right read. So, we've put the can in the trash can, now we're going to throw it at the cop.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
God, I fucking love the employee lounge, though.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
This is a nice room, is the thing, though. Do you think that behind these blinds is outdoors?
Really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Why is the vending machine a JPEG?
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Who farted?
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message. But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room, and took the first open door on his left to get back to business. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Truly, when you have no choice, the only choice is to make no choice.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult.
Sip coffee.
But the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Shall we give him a chance, chat? No chance? Okay.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Chat has spoken.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see.
Yes.
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees?
Yes.
Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
And a crafting system. Chat, which door do I take? I actually can't decide. Two? Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Two.
Oh, well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term.
Yes,
it didn't
enjoyed.
cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley.
God,
Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Fuck yes. Only the worst 3% of players chose the blue door. You are objectively ranked last. Okay. Getting a bit lazy with the existing stuff there, narrator.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Didn't? Okay, the end is loading.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice.
I think you
But
might
of
have...
course, the message of the game only becomes clear
Sip
once you've
coffee.
been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Yeah, I'm not pressing this button more than twice.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me.
I think I can come up
I'm
with
not
some
even going to
ideas.
try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see.
It was kind
What
of
do we
awful, though, is the thing.
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
The end is loading.
Aha! Fascinating. What do
This
you
has
think this game
changed.
is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Dr. President. Yeah, this is the wrong game. I'm not playing Firewatch today. God, I can't wait to creep on some
Oh
people.
no. No, it can't be.
Oh
It
no?
is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
So, in the previous version of the game that you got dropped into was,
I think this will be just
Minecraft.
the thing.
Which does also function at...
Wonderful.
Sip coffee.
See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
There does not appear
Okay,
to
so
be a
what
soccer ball.
exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Oh, thank God I'm speeding up.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount... Hold on. What are you doing?
Oh.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Bye. Oh, shit. Okay. I think I know where we're going to land. Yep. This is the Source Engine version of Stanley Parable that I was talking about a minute ago. Derelict and disused. Of course, we had to loop by the Stanley Parable 1.0 in order to get here. Oh, there's some lights on. Oh, employee. Oh, thank you for the stretch, Stewie. I am playing the new version of Stanley Parable, which I have successfully completely avoided spoiling myself on. Yeah, back in Employee 427's office, original version. There does not appear to be anything to do here. Yeah, yeah. Oh, lights went out.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all
it's
comes
worth
to a
playing.
close, then I'll be back. The end
Enjoy
will be
the
here
luck.
soon. Very soon. I can wait.
The end is loading.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
It is a
Stanley
game of
decided to go to
ends.
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. That... Fucking sure.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Okay, okay. I can't go that way, though. Okay. We're on a fucking literal roller coaster. We're visiting Bethesda Land.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Yeah. This is
Please
kind of
step
incredible.
inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
I got a really bad feeling about this elevator.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Gimme the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Anno. I think they've done it. It looks like I've only got it. This is a very bad feeling jump, by the way. That is a very unnatural curve. I also apparently... I'm gonna use all my jumps. I'm gonna get my money's worth, thank you. A unlocks the achievement, you can't jump. No, seriously, we disabled it.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Yeah. Let's go see the other new content.
Goodness.
Please buy
Another
jump coin.
elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
Yes.
If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box.
Oh,
The Stanley
that was
Parable
mean.
Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore."
No, that's in the Steam overlay.
What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations.
It could not have. It wasn't
If you're
fair.
still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills. No gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
The end is loading. The good old days.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Hold on, I want to have a look at the top of the stairs first. Yeah, let's go in the vent. Is it cake in the vent? Let's continue to investigate this vent.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special, and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Everything you need to make great ideas even better. The end is never, the end is never, the end is never, the end is never. And a fucking terrifying stapler clippy. In today's busy world, it isn't easy managing an entire productivity workflow. That's why the Stanley Parable can help you streamline your workplace efficiently with the Stanley Parable Advanced Computer Systems software. Productivity loss and/or efficiency gain becomes a thing of the past. At last, the power to convert ideas into action is at your fingertips. Oops. It's all in one box. It's been designed to fit the way you run your life into the ground to make money for someone else. At last. Nostalgia is a poison world. 2014 Independent Games Festival Audience Award, the Stanley Parable. They stole a BAFTA. Ah, good times. Oh, they sell postcards. The Memory Zone, Temp. Remember. A clock that literally just says 2013. Ah, memory. Oh no, I guess they actually won a BAFTA. Or were nominated for 3. New video game releasing today. New York Times. Creators surprisingly down to earth. %50 off designer hat, but a small creature owns the other half. Stanley Parable deals tough choices. Oh, that one's actually quite sweet. Oh, I can't actually sit in the bench. There's just a piano laying in the field over there.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk.
Persona
with
3
an hour
mentioned.
of new elevator content.
Where? There is the Stanley Parable. No, seriously, where? He just... Oh, sorry. Of course, of course. Let's begin again. There's a screenshot of the Minecraft Stanley Parable level. The tasteful nostalgic, it was good. Ah, it was worth a shot. Person of the Year, Stanley. Some stuff from the label editor. Oh, it's the doors. and some buttons.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Narrator.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
This looks lovely. Oh, we got another review over here.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it
Look what
did,
you've done, Noodle
but
Shaft.
maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
I do like that there are recommended ones mixed in, but he's focusing on the not recommended ones. I think it's probably brusque compared to what it could be. Every line of dialogue is very to a point. It could be so bad. Yeah, precisely.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt.
I'd call it brusque as a
Not
compliment.
if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Okay, before we press the skip button, the Stanley Parable is to some degree a game about checking behind facades, so...
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal
I feel like I
flourishes
should have sat
and
here.
lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video
I regret
games.
pressing it.
Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first
It's such a
place.
balance.
I guess
Watering
I should become
down
better educated on
your
exactly
artistic
how
output just a
Steam
teeny
works.
tiny bit to get that
Perhaps
broad
that would have
appeal
been
in,
the
but
smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait. How do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
probably
I don't
not.
feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some
I think
sort.
we were
or
always in
window
here.
or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here. Wait. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting
Is
longer,
the
but
entire
they're really,
volume
truly
of the
getting
game that I
longer. My
downloaded
God, there's no way out
12
of the
hours
room.
of dialogue?
Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door.
I don't think some of these
There's
lights
no
were out
door.
earlier.
There's just you and the... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing
Good evening,
now, Stanley.
Malatrice.
I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening.
I'm
I needed there
torturing
to be
the
a vessel
narrator,
through which my words were moving.
but
it was the vessel I
Except water.
needed, Stanley.
He might
not
kind
the
of
outcome,
deserve
not
it.
the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know
Just like
that
my
someone
pancakes.
else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear
See,
me.
he just
Because
kinda goes
maybe,
on a
Stanley,
bit.
Maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction.
Oh, I do know that
Was I
feel.
scared of that all along? Perhaps. Yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken
Man, I
by
get
it,
where you're
Stanley.
coming from, but
I
also
can't lose myself in the... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunity.
you know, he just keeps
I
getting
felt
more
nothing
things
at
to
all
talk
but
about.
regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that
I can see
feeling
better
had
now
begun
that
to
all the lights are
subside,
out.
what took its place is what I can only...
Oh, now he's sulking. Dead clock. Okay, let's slam that button again. Oh, well, I'm not staying in this time period. Let's get out of here.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said,
Oh, he's
entertain
back.
us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs
I don't think
down
he's
review
realised I'm
and make
here.
all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a...
Sip water. Oh, he's sulking again. Oh, clock's fallen off the wall. Just a bit.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is
Wow,
never
you
the
sound like
end,
me
is
whenever there's a
never the
loading
end,
screen.
is never the end, is never the end,
Oh,
is
that's
never
what
the
that sound I've
end,
been
is never
hearing
the
is.
end, is never the 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 end.
Can I
is
put the
never
plant
end,
underneath
is
that?
never the end, is never the end, is never the
It's
end,
probably a
is never
little bit
the
too late for
end,
that.
is never the end.
There was an old documentary called Life After People, which had lots of lovely Last of Us-esque scenes. The documentary was like a decade before The Last of Us, so... Yeah, I'm looking forward to this room getting life after peopled. As such. Hey, is there anything out there? There we go, that's more like it. And yet... Why does that have a radioactive chevron on it? Was it another fire alarm? Oh, I like this timeline. I can't actually do my lap anymore. I'm not getting my steps in. Oh. I guess it's winter now. Bring back the green. I said, bring back the green. This is spooky and I don't like it. Whoa! Whoa! Yeah, I miss the green. You're not gonna work anymore? Oh, sick, it's open world gameplay. Mad AMX. Mad Max. Yes. Oh good, there's heat shimmer. Perhaps I'm best off... Okay, rotate 180 and go. Let's just walk towards that hill. We got some new content, everyone. My man, are you okay?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No, really, my man, are you okay? Yeah, the smoke and a coffee. Yeah, that sounds about right. Well...
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Fantastic. Sip water. I hope he recharged the jump circle. Oh, we skipped the, Disney ride this time.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
The stream title was supposed to be a joke.
You see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully
Stealth
fledged
dropped the
sequel. An
sequel.
entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
I like the branding.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think?
I do
Ultra
think. That's why I gave my...
What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
I'm glad that stealth drops can work. Good for Hi-Fi Rush. Also, I'm sure that there's nothing bad about, like, having New Coke right here. And the Kubrick carpet. Photos of painting. Oh boy, this makes me feel bad. The Windows 10 default background in the back. Heck. And a photo of a painting. Do you see Tinky Winky? I don't think so. There is something over there. Looks a bit like a Firewatch platform actually, but it also looks... Ooh. Oh. Was this always here? Did I literally just miss that giant? I probably did, didn't I? This does look nice, though. Too focused on Tinky Winky. Just a bit. They're back. Two in various different fonts. New content is out. New content part 2 is in. The new hotness versus old and busted. More Stanley Parable? Better Stanley Parable. Win-win. Envelop client set and trick marketing. The color red. Leverage holistic value. The problem is that all these posters are like really, really cool designs. Fuck, Apple, give me bird. You're on the right Twitch channel for that. Thanks for attending my meeting. Yeah, which makes me sad that I'm probably getting my chain yanked and this isn't actually the Stanley Parable 2.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Turbo Mega Meta World. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Everyone on the hype bus. This is hurting me.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
Buses should go choo-choo.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, What do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Hey, can I activate stream safe mode real quick?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game,
Yeah,
this button
the
will
thing
say
that-
your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you roleplay as Jim
Okay,
to really
I'm Jim now.
simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Jim,
I
Jim,
want
Jim,
you
Jim,
to
Jim, Jim,
imagine
Jim.
yourself
Jiminy Jim.
living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Jim.
Whoa!
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
No, the thing it reminded me of was Codsworth and Fallout 4. Saying the player's name.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Oh, all the marketing has changed.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on
Sip
this
water.
one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Oh, I need to choose here. Get well someday.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Wonderful.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Oh shit, there's an achievement. Hold on, this is an achievement guide now. Pull the lever, receive your achievement. It just works.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Bro, I do not trust this machine. Why do you need so many radiators and heat vents?
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Just got to get the original Employee 427 PC in there. I want to jump on that frickin' lever and earn the achievement. Oh, I feel so unsatisfied. is that? A giant post box? Nothing down there? Okay. No achievement for me.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Okay, then. Okay. Oh god, thank gosh there's a map. I'm kind of lost, actually. There's merch? Let's go see the merch. I need to go through and slightly to the left. It should be there. Ah, no one's manning the merch station. Let's see the reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Let's try the bucket.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma?
Why,
as
yes,
well.
you can.
I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit
Oh,
more
like I needed the
attractive
help.
as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Just pick it up. Good news, everyone. We
Does
have a
anyone
bucket
give out
now.
awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Schween shaders. The baby is all grown up. A whole new office. Red is the new orange. New, updated, ray traced, more of the same but in a good way, sequel to the... etc, etc. There's a lot going on here. We got collectibles and we got the infinite hole. I'll go to the infinite hole last, because I feel like I'm going to fall in the infinite hole forever. Can you find them?
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I
Incredible.
don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
One of 6. Yo! It literally just teleported me to the exit because, yeah.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Now, I've modified my copy of Fallout 4 to add more useless collectibles to the game, so I don't think I can criticize that in video games too much. What an unappealing statue, though. Okay, let's check out this infinite hole now. There's no screenshots. Oh god, no. That's back in the office decoration room. Concrete Contemplations. I'd read it. Oh, this is some, Pepsi breathless presentation bullshit. Okay, there's an infinity in there. It just keeps going. Okay, that looks like an illustration of the Permian Basin superorganism, but let's go in this hole.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Hold on, let me have a look around the side. There hasn't been anything yet, but one day there will be something. Perhaps some kind of collectible. Ooh. Okay. The little piano flourish as I jumped in.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so.
I'm glad I
Now
had the
then,
bucket for this.
Since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
No, I want to see inside the mystery
Okay,
flesh pit.
Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of
Yeah,
the
in
hole.
fact, moving.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely?
It's a
I
bunch of
figured the
fucking
hole was as deep
cigarettes.
as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
I am the problem.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the whole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Okay, good. Once again, he's amended the marketing. Okay, I think that's just about everything. Let's double check the map. I don't want to fall in some more. It hadn't crossed my mind, but now that you say it.
Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing
Thank
steadily
you for the hint,
less and
Anno.
less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point.
Exquisite.
It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch.
It didn't.
Who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
I'm
Is the
kiddie pool.
teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally
Okay, I deserve
anything
this.
else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Bye. Okay. Why is there dubstep in the distance? Ominous sounds. Oh, we're going down. Once again, really glad I got this reassurance bucket. I'm going to be doing this cinematically. What have they done to you, my friend Mail07? Yeah, I'm kind of liking it too. Okay, okay, I need to check the other musics as much as I'm enjoying this one. We will not be staying on this one long. No one's got something for it.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer.
No. I'm getting to the reality button, I promise. Sorting through sounds for a lo-fi track, just a bit. Is it shuffling through these randomly? I want to get back to the one we had before. A lot of these are stretching the definition of music just a bit. Bird mode, yes. Go, motherfucker. How many music tracks could they have put in here? I'm sorry, This one will do. I'm hitting the change your reality button. Oh, well. Puppies. I hope we get back to the puppies. I should have left it on the puppies.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley! Oh good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
It still says mostly infinite hole out there. Is that the fucking... Did he actually get so... He got so sick of my shit.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Quite. Nope, no do-overs. God, that red light looks sinister reflected in the bucket. Still gone. But I want to go for a bit more. Are you sure? I trust you. Oh, for fuck's sake, I keep thinking that this is like a sneaky little side thing. Uh, we've been outplayed. I want to try this right click to walk thing. This is weird. That's new. Forbidden from holes. I've been banned for life. Okay, jump circle, done. This map, done. Free achievement, done. The button that says the name of gym, done. Merch, checked, can't do anything. Hashtag settings world championship, just through here and on the left. Allegedly. Well, thank you for lying to me, map. Oh, settings world champion. Too much of a whole freak. Bucket. Office decorations. Epilogue. Is on semicolon, which is, yeah. Yeah, this is the settings world champion. Not championship, the champion. Sure. Jump, space. Quite. Ah, that's kinda nice. I can now walk just by right-clicking.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Wow, that was quite nothing. Oh, I'm up here now. Oh, is this where the settings world champion is? It was upstairs. Oh, for fuck's sake. Nope. There is naught. Okay, I think that means we've checked out everything the Stanley Parable 2 has to offer. Collectibles, infinite hole, exit.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to?
No.
Ready to move on now?
Nice cinematography.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
No world champion.
Okay.
I couldn't
Are
figure
you
it
ready?
out.
Here it is.
Assuming there's something
I
to
give you
figure out.
The Stanley Parable 2.
Looks good to me.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different
Okay.
arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
That looks slightly worse.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait,
Yeah.
maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
That sounds good.
Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Okay. Nice. Oh, fuck. That's a cool effect for the title screen, honestly. Begin? It's like controlling this bitch. I've never played Control. It's on my 2 playlist. I might even do
This
so
is
on
the
stream.
story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked at a company in a big building where
Tastefully.
he was employee number 427.
Now, I need to look real close at his
Employee
screen here.
number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them. and
Escape I space
This is
MJ.
what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say
The balloons are
hi.
particularly tasteful.
Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Escape. The sequel is now paused. I space MJ. That didn't seem to do anything.
All of his
I'm not certain that I
co-workers
got
were
that
gone.
right.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley
I'm gonna have to
looked,
live with these
he
balloons
couldn't
from
find
now
a
on,
trace
aren't
of
I?
his co-workers.
The balloons just live here now.
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Oh, I'm so fucking sorry.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Okay. Well, now I feel quite reassured.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was
Wow.
wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well,
Honestly,
I'd
slightly.
never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years.
Well, I went to the meeting
Let him
room
have it.
at the bucket's suggestion, and then I left the meeting room, and the narrator thought that I'd done so because the bucket was
Okay,
wrong,
I've got you something
but I
which
had just left the
think
meeting
will help
room
settle this debate
because
once
I had
and for
appreciated
all.
it very
Here we
quickly.
go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Okay, mine.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
Yeah, what do you think of that, broom closet?
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that
That's a
sort of
reward.
happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Nice. Yeah.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday
I'm
bucket.
quite certain.
Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong.
I'm quite
Surely
certain.
no good would come from this.
No!
Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket. Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket. Come to me, Stanley. Find me. He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Dead.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him.
I'm quite certain that was my
Perhaps he
bucket,
didn't
though.
even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Would you believe that that's not too edited from the original version? Bucketless version of that ending.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
I can't tell the difference. Figurine Finder's committing a meeting today in the meeting room. Well, I know where we're going.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Oh, thank God, I've got the bucket again. We are heading to the
Stanley
meeting room
clutched the bucket
express.
tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Looks good to me. Warehouse access plan. Produce one plank to allow ease of access past fence. Construct a bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve Chris's remains from warehouse floor. Construct new structurally sound bridge. What the fuck? No bucket. Go right at the AB room. Inside of a sequel exhibit. Stairs. Something to do with stairs. Somewhere both red and blue. Near a fireplace. A private but smelly place for an important person. Is this some kind of game? Lol, looks like 427. Red room? Oh yeah, no, I got that one already. That's the bottom of the stairs. Thank you, good luck. Help! I'm a post-it note. How can we find them? Bottom text. Why do they look kinda like 427? Trust the completionist instinct. Okay. Yeah, that's in the bathroom. That's in the dark. Getting some real Left 4 Dead vibes here. Near a fireplace. Okay, well, let's go for...
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
10, 9, 8. Okay, I believe you, narrator.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
First of all...
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This,
Sick.
you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands?
Mini
Stanley
stands.
figs. What about Stanlerines?
Oh, mini stands.
I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Can I get some pogs in chat from the people who stand Stanley? As we collect these mini stands. Business strategy. Strategy is spelt wrong. Fuck that panda. What did that panda do to you? I don't remember what is this way. Bye! Oh, now I remember what's this way. Nothing. That's not actually an elevator, it's just a box that shakes gently and plays music.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
I already did this bit. We're just going. Oh, for fuck's sake.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yes. No exit allowed.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines.
I wasn't expecting to
And
get
now
another
I'm
one so
torn
soon.
between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will
I
come
can't
to me.
answer that question. This game really just likes making tremendously dark nooks for me to squat in, doesn't it? I don't think there's any actual purpose to being back there. This is a crunchy elevator.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Hey chat. Chat. Which way? First comment wins. I can't decide again. The indecision is escape. Everyone says escape. Okay.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
I feel reassured about that.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Looks good to me. Whoa, Portal 2 vibes. Whoa.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Bye, everyone.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to
I don't
behold.
have a bucket anymore.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
So normally this is the Dev Museum. Okay, let me take this bucket. We've got an allegory for stress. The bucket allowed itself to be used.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The necessary relationship between bucket and humanity, clearly out of our grasp. This distance is for our own good. Oh.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
No. We did not escape. In my head I call that the rocks fall, everyone dies ending, because although your attempt to get off the narrator's railroading results in immediate death.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
God, I wish I had the different... No. We've been over this. This balloon is sitting in a co-worker chair.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door.
There
on
is
his
no
left.
door here. I've been tricked.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted...
Let's begin again. I'm taking the damn bucket.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
Well. Alright then.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
I don't want the narrator saying that the bucket was wrong this time. I'm just going to loiter for a quick minute.
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge. Then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired. Perhaps this was where the bucket felt most truly at home. Here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
Okay.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
Is this bucket sublimating my identity?
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
You know, it's more important than anything else.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon,
Figler
you'll
and
collect the
Marines.
last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to
Beautiful.
when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
I found it. Oh, thank gosh, there's a big vent open back there. Has this always been here? Oh my. All labeled narrator dialogue.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel.
I've never seen this ending before. Was
I pick
this
it up.
there in the previous
No matter
version of
how
the
many
Stanley
times
Parable?
I've done it. It's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make
I suspect
sense.
that normally this dialogue would be quite
There's
intense.
no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure?
I'm going to go ahead and get the non-bucket version of this.
I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Camporata.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's go ahead and try the non-bucket version of that ending, because I've never seen that before.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Archives
simply
3.
missed a memo.
Honestly.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew
Okay,
it
mate, we're
perfectly
speed
well.
running here.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Huge thanks to my co-workers for building that bridge so I could get the collectible.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
That was worth it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms.
This
With
is
the
a bucket
in
run.
his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I don't actually know which way the thing I'm looking for is. There's a lift to go down there. I think it might be...
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
I don't know whether to
He
jump
was
off or
firmly
not.
convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Do I? I don't think I did.
No, stop. Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't?
I think I know quite
I
confidently.
suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness.
This
I
is the
think we
bucket
have to
sticker
do
on
something
it.
about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Okay.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right?
Chat, I'm gonna
This
need
should
your
tell
help
us
on this.
everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
It doesn't have a bucket sticker on it. Chat, please advise. I am enjoying your game. Thank you, the narrator. No sticker, no bucket.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Yes!
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Still no sticker.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
That's how autocorrect works.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
There's no way that this one is also not a bucket. You know, if you get, like, the same answer several times in a row on a multiple choice exam, you know you've screwed up, so this one's got to be a bucket.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Could have a sticker on the back. Perfect score.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Can I get a bit closer? I can't. Damn. This could also have a sticker on it is the thing. I'm gonna go with no.
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket.
Yes!
To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot.
Hey!
Next
I've got
one.
a perfect score, man.
Is this a bucket?
My man.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
I am raising my
Item
eyebrows.
6.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Is this a bucket?
No.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Oh, go fuck yourself. It had oh god, the fucking...
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket.
A bucket
when
is...
I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now
I mean, a bucket is mostly the emptiness inside of a bucket.
Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game.
No.
Okay, here we go.
No.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
Everything was a
Every
bucket.
single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either.
Confirmed
This is
not bucket.
wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel
This is like
much
that
more at ease
load-bearing
right
pineapple
now.
in Team
It's still
Fortress 2.
delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
It's buckets all the way down, baby. Okay.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
No, I don't want to jump straight to using cheats for various reasons. I got stuff. I got runs I need to do. Wait! First of all, I almost forgot it legitimately. I know it's an ending, but I don't want to do it.
He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift
I
all
put
the
a
way
little
to
walk
the top.
on, and I
There's
almost
something
forgot to
up
take
there
it
I
off.
need you to do.
Okay, let's see what the
Stanley
bucket
did
wants
not
us to do.
question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here,
said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Looks good. Oh, in the dark. Just a bit.
Now pick up the phone,
said the bucket.
pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Hey, baby.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
I love you, bucket.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen
Hi,
to
bucket.
me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen. Let's go home.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Press B to ignore anyone in your life except for me. Okay, bucket.
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket.
Thank you for your
this
words of wisdom.
Sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on
Probably should have been
closer
paying attention to what
inspection,
letters
it
it's been
doesn't
having me
quite
type
look
out.
like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Press F to go home to work to home to work to home.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket?
Hey.
Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me.
No.
Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
Mine. Back to work. The problem is solved.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
No. Hold on.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Yes. Now we're ready for this ending.
Yes,
Whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
we've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now,
So alone.
and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein.
Oh dear.
Of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger. Of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception.
It can't be helped,
This
bucket.
was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambharata first ensnared me in
Gambharata?
his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of...
No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid!
Gambharata's
Why are you
amulet.
doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket.
Agreed.
Nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked.
Stanley just smiled.
Anywhere they went together would be perfectly...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I'm going to BRB myself. Just go to the bathroom and top up my water real quick. Boop.
Is everybody in the groove? Well, stick.
And I'm back. Let's get back to it. I'm running out of bucket routes to do, honestly.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Yes.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
I don't remember where this one goes. I'm very glad I've got stickers on my bucket.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Oh, wonderful.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere.
Fireplace.
The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much
I
time
love you,
with it.
Adventure Line.
Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Does the broom closet really count as a friend of mine anymore?
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
There we go.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
I'm not dropping the fucking bucket. You're not in charge of my bucket.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
No, I don't.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
I think I can
Surely
guess.
You don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
No, can't believe the Adventure Line has betrayed me like this.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet?
Bucket.
Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Buckets crushed 0 of 1. Oh, I'm sorry that Bucket Destroyer had to die.
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
You can't see, but I'm saluting right now. Well, that's enough of that. Big salutes to that queen. Yeah, reminds me of the Crushnator.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Subtitle dialogue mismatch. Mock this person viciously.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
I'm gonna have to quit real quick. And do something. Oh, yes, technical difficulties, good. That's applicable. The game is launching. There we go. The current time is 4:53. I don't know why it's asking me for that again, but let's go ahead and be honest. Hang on, hang on. Okay, yes. Okay. Just set the clock to my favorite time, got it. Sick. Ah, I had attempted to summon the console, but it appears to not be summonable. At least via conventional scrub means. Oh well.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what
Escape
order.
I space
This is what
MJ.
employee 427 did
But it did have
every day,
milliseconds.
every month of every year. And
Escape I
although
space
others might have
MJ.
considered it solely,
Escape I M space J.
Stanley relished
Nah.
every moment.
Don't care. Skip. Welcome back. Quit the game and start it again. Steam achievement unlocked. Lovely.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm going to go ahead and go to the meeting room. Excuse me? Excuse me? What's that there?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Mostly because I want to look at the hint for the last figurine. Somewhere red and blue. Well, alright. Begin again. Because I've already screwed up the red and blue route.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Of course, you're back at 0.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nah. Stanley went straight.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look,
Lovely that the
Stanley,
bridge
I
is
think
still
perhaps
there.
we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
No,
Are
I'm
you
just busy.
that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
Oh, there really
Let me
is.
prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly.
Yay.
Savor this moment, Stanley. This
Six of
is a
six.
real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake
Sip
of
water.
doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted
What
that
do you
a
call it, a
job
Stanley
well
Wiggly?
done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we
No.
can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Well, we already did the blue door route, so, well, maybe we can edge the narrator
Perhaps
just a
you
little bit.
misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Stiggly
I still
Wiggly.
don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley... Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Beep. No buckets past this point.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley...
Oh, it's
I
this
think I
ending.
feel happy. I actually feel happy.
This is quite possibly the least pleasant ending in the
No,
game.
Wait, where are you going? Oh no, stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No! Oh, thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
In Infamous 1, one of the
There.
endings requires you to
See?
kill your friend.
This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really
It's-
can. If
In
we stop
Infamous 1,
moving,
it's
we just have to
pick
stop
the red or blue
moving.
door thing.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
Yeah. Okay, now let's hurl ourselves off the stairs again.
No. No, no, what are you doing? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Ah. Anyone who wants to has permission to mute the damn game at this point because... Oh god.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? My god, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll
This
throw
is an
yourself
original
from this
ending.
platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
For all it talks about this being a choice, there is nothing in the other room.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Except water. Yeah, that one hurts. That one hurts a lot. Let's do something with the bucket.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking
emotional
about them since you
whiplash.
nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Fuck me. Why is the memory zone filled with chairs and copiers now? Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. Oh, okay, we need to go immediately into the creepy basement.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Do I collect it again? Okay.
And here was a second Stanlerine. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Thanks.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Let's try getting this wrong.
No. Behind the boss's office was the 4th place you found a Figanli, not the 3rd. Well, I guess perhaps I shouldn't be surprised. Memories like these are so
I actually
precious
do remember.
and so cherished that they all just sort of blend together, don't they? You know what? If the boss's office feels like the 3rd place you found a collectible, then who am I to go making judgments?
Okay, I'll get any questions right from now on.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
This looks like it's from the beginner's guide. With some Stanley Parable gubbins sprinkled in.
This was the 5th mini-Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In
God.
fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Oh, okay. We're getting at some Windows Movie Maker goodness. Hot damn. Yeah, it has been one day since I've sat through a business meeting with lots of audio-visual presentation. That said, the audio-visual presentation was quite good. But, yeah.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
This is really damn clever, by the way. It is in fact responding to the order that I picked things
then we
in.
came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right
And I'm
here
pretty
by
sure
the
it's
red
doing that
and
with
blue
portals.
doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was, exactly.
It actually added one to my count for the one that I missed. Yeah, and that's why all of these level ends are ending in a perfect pitch blackness thing, is because the light doesn't work nicely with portals. A little bit of behind the scenes engine trivia.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
Goodbye, Memory Zone. Yeah, we had...
No, I'm not done.
You
I'm
got
not
me
ready
with
to
that
move
one.
on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the Memory Zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the
This
figurines
Figley
we
looks
looked at
so
in our initial tour of the
concerned.
Memory Zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
I also kind of want more.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Please don't put the... Okay, good. Double speed, that's acceptable.
Yes, I love that video.
Fantastic.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them.
Yes.
I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
No. No? Oh. This way is sealed. I've been outsmarted.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
Mm-hmm. Not gonna lie, the narrator has kind of a point.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Oh, thank God they put a light on the exit. Let me collect the big one. I'm begging you. God, something about those signs blanked out is legitimately kind of creepy.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more memories.
They'll have to release the Stanley Parable 3 for that, narrator.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Mm-hmm.
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
I can remember the source version of the game.
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again.
I really
can
hope that
do
it just...
I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much.
Okay.
Here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Bucket's so wrong, Pilt.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
No, let me back. Okay, no.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
What the hell?
Perhaps
This room
his
is back to
boss's
normal.
office was where he'd find answers. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I'm pretty sure that's just my mouse glitching, but that surprised me quite a fair bit. That's a good quality mirror there. We will not be paying attention to the nothing chamber.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yes, yes. I get the impression it's going to reset at the end of this, but... just in case, let's see what the bucket has to say about the mind control machine, eh?
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley.
Bucket.
Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn
Very
around
hard to tell
and
which
get
way
back
is
on
which.
track.
Let's try and go back now. That's a choice.
But of course, Stanley and the bucket thought better of it and realized they simply had too much to live for. Nope. It's death for Stanley and the bucket.
No, no, I'm here for life. Skadoosh.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Wait.
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next, Stanley
I just did that on autopilot.
Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had
it's still
even
up there.
thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
I didn't expect that.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Those balloons really tail off after this.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Bloop.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Bloop, boop, boop. Back on track.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
Come on, man.
What was I thinking?
The
It's
narration
Oh,
makes
dear,
it.
Hold on for a minute, please.
Here?
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
From the top.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I had a suspicion that this path might be unaltered from the original game, but I wanted to confirm it. You'll note the lack of balloons, the lack of bucket, but I don't think it would be a real playthrough without doing this.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Let's find that story. Thank you, Inner Guilt.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
There we go.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong.
No,
it's
no,
possible
no.
The story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
No, I was pretty thorough the first time through, sorry, mate.
Aha! I knew we'd missed
Wait.
something.
Oh.
The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what?
I do.
Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
I won.
Congratulations!
My speedrun is over.
I know you put in a lot of hard work,
It
and
only
really
took
paid off. So, good job.
3.5 hours.
No.
So what?
No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Stretch. Okay. Mm. Okay.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
Yeah, I
Just
needed a
follow
big
the
stretch.
line. How simple is that?
Is this going to be the one change in this entire ending? Fucking phenomenal.
No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
It's just the total surrender.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on.
That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Ah, that's new. Sneaky little payday knives. This is...
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Fern information absorbed. Also, let's go ahead and hold on. Nope, that hallway I saw is just gone. Fern absorbed.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Restart. My man is so tired.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
This way. Employee 437's really frickin' weird
Yes,
office.
This is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
I appreciate the TM after it. Bye-bye.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each
way ahead of
door
you, buddy.
has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is?
It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget?
Narrator forgets about
My
previous
mind goes
restarts.
blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree?
It is.
I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
God, I forgot about the buzzer.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We're going to do a bucket run after that.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
No, I think that the bucket made Stanley want to be a better woman.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
What was
Coming to
down?
a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked
Was that
upstairs
insanity?
to the boss's
I think it
office.
was. Stanley began a regime of HRT. Oh, we've already even seen that money bomb.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
The bucket
was
always
the bucket
knows.
guiding him? Yes.
This time I'm
this
not
is
going to
certainly
fall
the
off.
most logical explanation.
Fall off the mind control machine. I'm still undecided as to whether I'll be switching it off or on at the end, though. Perhaps we'll switch it on with the bucket. See what happens.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this
Has
place
the
hold?
confusion.
Stanley
That's
and
where
the
we
bucket
were.
both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in
What's
shock.
with 234?
Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Yeah, 234 appears to be the only one that's displaying weird. And I don't remember that.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
Good
Had
question.
the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Stanley's feeble mind.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Well, that's just factual.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and
I will
commanded
be
from this
back
very
in just a
place.
second. Okay, I'm back. I'll be wrapping up in a second.
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink
Maybe
in,
one more run.
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
So, chat. On or off? Off? See the classic ending bucket edition? On? See the other ending bucket edition? You think? Okay.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
What a...
Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
This is wonderful. Let's look at some swallows. Those are not swallows.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only
It's
a
called
facade
Twitch.com.
to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable.
I'm right here.
Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Okay, I got time for one more. I'm gonna grab the bucket and speed her into the boss's office.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Fifth annual subcommittee meeting, blah blah blah, recommendations from the oversight committee. No, it's just a slightly scary mess.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd coming to a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yes. Thank you, bucket. This time we're going to turn the machine off, because I do want to know. And would you believe I'm legitimately struggling to think of anything else that I've missed?
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Oh, sorry. I keep right-clicking, which puts on auto-walk very aggressively, and then forgetting that I've done such a thing.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
Most important
Had the bucket
question.
been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over...
Oh. Oh?
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
Is it ever over?
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support.
No.
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket.
Oh dear.
To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
What do you mean by very soon? I... mm. And on that note, I think I'd better wrap up for the
Stanley
evening.
decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
Oh good, they all say the end is never. Yes, thank you for joining. Next week we will be summoning Slay the Princess. Summoning? Streaming. Slay the Princess. Which actually prompted me to finally stream the Stanley Parable, because it feels in some regards like a bit of a response to it. If you didn't know why before, then hopefully you've got some insight into why I'd say that now. Let me up, let me up, let me up, let me up, let me up. Ah, this balloon's in the way. Yeah. Thank you. We will be going to a restaurant to celebrate my father's birthday. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be good. Good night. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. I will see you next week.